Hills, where a group led by Chris Smalls has protested for Amazon to pay taxes. Remember that this is in light of Jeff Bezos' fortune increasing by 65% throughout COVID. Let's see. I think it's at that point where it says it's I am not sure if we're back or not, but in any case, this group here in Beverly Hills is leaving Jeff Bezos' mansion in Beverly Hills, protesting for Amazon to actually pay some taxes and give back. While Jeff Bezos' wealth has increased by 65%, one of several billionaires who that has happened to. A very passionate group led by Chris Smalls, who was fired by Amazon for trying to organize safety in his workplace in Staten Island in New York, simply calling for safer COVID guidelines. They fired him, citing that he was trying to bypass COVID guidelines, when in fact the opposite was the case. And they issued or had internal memos smashing and smearing Chris as unintelligent. As he mentioned during his passionate speech in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion, he said, "You think I'm so unintelligent? Look at what's happening right now." If you're just rejoining us, smash the like button, share this stream. Again, we believe that Jeff Bezos had signal jammers right in front of his home. All the feeds cut off. My signal, I couldn't even send text messages on my phone. Right in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion at the end of his driveway. Let me know if you guys can hear me. See what's going on. Trying to figure out if the stream's actually back or not. Give me a shout out if we're actually live right now. Some people passing honking in solidarity. You have some protesters who are kind of guiding cars that are going by so everyone's safe. Bezos will spray them with Amazon packaging. I like that, Ben. You'll see some people kind of passing by with confused looks on their faces, like, what on earth are these people doing fighting for democracy? We are in Beverly Hills, super wealthy area. We're back.
Yay, we got back. Yeah, they must have been using a scrambler, I guess.
Yeah, so Tina, I was just telling the audience, as soon as we got in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion, our stream shut down, our live view that pulls from several different
drones came up on the
cell
sky.
phone companies. My phone wouldn't get any text, send any text, nothing. So we think it was scrambled.
It's possible.
Yeah, we're back.
And then we had drones up in the sky. And
There
then
were
I
drones
had
flying around,
reporters
helicopters.
gone wild moment where I called Jeff to see if he'd come out for comment, which he did not do.
So one has to wonder exactly what's going on in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion. Was that just for this group? Is it normal? Like no one can make any cell phone calls from Jeff Bezos' house?
I think when you're as wealthy as Jeff Bezos, you can afford the technology to make that happen no matter what.
He probably has his own cell phone
That's
company.
exactly right. It's kind of crazy that way.
And again, as we were talking about, his wealth has increased by 65% throughout COVID. He's the wealthiest man in the world.
So at his level of wealth, the thing that's happening is the wealth is so concentrated. When he sleeps, his money is growing exponentially.
Yeah.
So over 80% of the new wealth that's been created the last couple of years has gone to the 1%. And they're not doing anything to earn that. They're just sitting there making money. And it kind of bothers me when Trump talks about how great the economy is. because he's solely looking at the stock market, and the stock market really isn't a gauge of the broader economy. It's just really a metric for how rich people are feeling, right? So they're going to do okay no matter what. The rest of the population can be suffering, but they'll still be okay. But eventually the rooster is going to come home to roost because they are dependent on the broader economy functioning in the sense that consumers have to consume, right? So they make widgets, people buy widgets, and that's how growth occurs. But if people don't have any more expendable income and they can't buy the widgets, then the entire house of cards collapses, which is sort of why I think Andrew Yang was pushing for UBI, because he's a technocrat, right? He's not.
Tell people what a technocrat is. We had this discussion earlier.
Right, okay, so in many ways I agree with Andrew Yang on outcomes, right? So he's saying if we want to save capitalism, we have to put money into the hands of Americans so they have money to spend with. That is the engine of growth, right? I want less income inequality because I'm an egalitarian, right? I come from a place... Hang on.
Keep going. Keep talking.
Okay.
Stand with him.
I come from a place where I want just less income inequality. I want more egalitarian society as a whole. But his point is, like, if we're going to save capitalism, we have to put money in the hands of consumers. That's how, without it, the whole thing collapses. And he's not wrong on this. But the reality is that most of these guys don't seem to understand it, or they understand it and they simply don't care. I don't know what happens next, but we're in very dire straits.
One thing that I found so interesting yesterday when we were speaking to Trump people was that they do not seem to understand the income inequality is a dire situation. They don't understand how the charts have grown exponentially.
Right.
That the wealth is all concentrated at the top.
Right. You know, it's odd to me because yesterday a lot of those guys were saying, like, well, fuck Biden, right? They thought everybody on the other side was pro-Biden, which is not the case. And at one point, when I interviewed one of these folks, I said, look, this isn't a Biden rally over here. Why do you assume that everybody on the other side wants Biden?
Right.
It's because you're engaging in binary thinking. Everything you're accusing the other side of might be something you might be guilty of. Really think about the fact that a lot of these folks think both Biden and Trump as bad. There's no good outcome here, right? It's not one or the other. They don't seem to understand that. But to be fair, neither do a lot of Democrats.
Right, for sure.
I mean, it's like that whole Saul Alinsky thing where you have these tiers, right? And it's the have some want a little more. So these are the people that are making $250 a year maybe. They're not a member of the 1%, but they are in the 10% top income earners in the country, right? They will continue to uphold the system because they're better off than the rest of us. And they still see themselves as being able to enter that 1%, right? And until we get those folks to wake up, it's going to be a problem.
Exactly. I think you're 100% correct. People are not awake. They think, the American dream is still available to them. What they don't realize is that the American dream is all sucked up in the 1%. It's not possible anymore.
Right.
Maybe it was decades ago, but not now.
Since I would say the early 1970s, we've been stepping towards this place. We didn't get here overnight, right? You could almost start with the Pell Memo, which was, 1973, I think, 1972? I mean, this was a blueprint for the right wing to come in and take money to create a plutocracy that functioned not only with corporate America, but Congress, with the media. And all these years later, their tools have been very effective. That's where we are, right?
100%. Let's see here. We're trying to navigate through some traffic. Let's see how this works.
Let's not get run over today.
Meanwhile, thank you guys for hanging out. If some of you were watching before, you may have noticed the feed went down. Well, we strongly believe that Jeff Bezos had a scrambler in front of his home. Okay, so someone is angrily trying to get around here. Stop! Someone is very angry. Just stop. Someone is angrily trying to get through the protest here. She looks very upset. There's a dog in the backyard. Okay, she looks really upset. Oh my God, she's calling someone. No idea what's happening there. Someone apparently...
A Karen's got a Karen.
Someone's apparently in Beverly Hills and has never been inconvenienced in their life.
Exactly. I'm like, Karen's got a Karen.
Never had an issue in her life, I guess.
Wow.
If this makes her cry,
I know, right? She's having
I don't mean to be mean.
She had to stop to not run people over.
You had to stop for 1 minute.
And she's panicking and
she's
crying.
crying.
Welcome to Beverly Hills, Jen. Welcome to Beverly Hills.
Oh my God.
Wait, here comes another
Here comes some more. Beverly Hills not having this. As I was saying, we believe that Jeff Bezos' house had a scrambler in front of it. Our feed went down, which pulls from several different companies. So we had nothing. We had no live feed. My own personal phone, AT&T, would not work, even to send text messages. Tina's phone, which I believe is on Sprint, would not work. John's phone on T-Mobile would not work. So we strongly believe Jeff Bezos had scramblers directly in front of his mansion. We'll call this the inconvenienced housewives of Beverly Hills.
How do you believe us, sir? Honk the horn if you believe in us. He don't believe in us. But guess what? Wall Street!
This is one of our viewers here, and she just was asking me that we're live.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Do you want to say anything? Okay.
Okay.
We just met a viewer, so nice. Smash the like button, share the stream all over social media. We're building the audience back up after Jeff Bezos screwed up our streams. Pass that along, guys. The real inconvenience housewives of Beverly Hills. Monarch, yes, there were helicopters above Jeff Bezos' mansion for sure. I don't see any right now. If you can, please help our ongoing supporting. Okay, so that woman just gave everybody the fuck you symbol. She clearly can only be concerned with herself. It's amazing. It's amazing how these people can be inconvenienced for 30 seconds and they have an issue. Statusco.com/West Coast. Please help us at any amount. We've been out in the field on the West Coast for about 10 days, John and I. We stopped over in LA with Tina Desiree Berg, who freelances for us. She's amazing. This is kind of hilarious. All right, so some support. Some support for Bezos actually paying taxes, Amazon actually paying taxes. As you can see, the crowd gets very excited when someone honks in support. You would think that everybody would be in support of this. I mean, even these very rich people living in Beverly Hills have their money being funneled up to Jeff Bezos. These millionaires could have many, many more millions of dollars if Jeff Bezos weren't sucking up all the money. Smash the like button, the thumbs up button right underneath this stream. Subscribe if you haven't already. Yes, absolutely, Tyson. The Larry David comment is amazing. Imagine him driving through here right now. Love that. If you're just joining us, we're marching away from Jeff Bezos' house, which we have strong evidence had scramblers in front of it, so we could not live stream. The three of our phones on 3 different networks would not work either. Seems Jeff Bezos can't handle the heat. This group marching to demand that Amazon actually pays taxes. They're marching against the fact that Jeff Bezos' wealth increased by 65% during COVID. The wealth is absolutely concentrated all at the top. And that's something, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of Trump supporters don't understand. When I would mention that fact to them yesterday, it's as if their brains exploded. Yes, the honking was friendly. That's a common thing here with these marches where cars will honk in support. I know, Reese. Like, how does the average person get the scrambler? Okay, so someone is standing in front of a vehicle with the "Fuck Bezos" sign. She doesn't look antagonistic. We'll see what happens. A lot of these marchers want to kind of wake up the people of Beverly Hills. Here they are, most of them, living very posh lifestyles. We've been marching past millions of dollars of mansions. We've been marching past luxury vehicles. There's the Beverly Hills Hotel right there. A lot of wealth. And what even these very rich people don't realize is that Jeff Bezos has all of their money. These billionaires have all of their money. A lot of these marchers are not against wealth. They're not against wealth. They're against obscene wealth. They're against income inequality, where it is so drastic that the average person can't make a living. The average person doesn't have health care. The average person doesn't have enough food in light of COVID. The average person doesn't have adequate housing under COVID. We reported earlier from Portland, where a study came out while we were there from Portland State University, where half of students are either food insecure or housing insecure at this time. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos can sneeze and earn more than all of us. This is Christian. We have interviewed him. Jordan. He had worked at the Staten Island Amazon warehouse for 5 years. When COVID hit, he noticed some very unsafe practices, so he tried to organize against those unsafe practices. He was fired. He was smeared. They actually had internal corporate memos against him, saying that he's unintelligent and a whole lot more. And here he is today, organizing marches and protests, taking actions to make the world a better place. Smash the like button. The thumbs up right underneath the street. All right, 1 second, guys. Guys, hold on. Hold on. Oh, that was you. Okay. Hold on, guys, hold on. I'm active mic right now. So we're going to team is with you. I should correct it. 1 second. Hold. Hold, please. Hold, please. Okay, Tina's quite far back. So there's, this march was going on for quite a while. There's actually a status quo viewer who Tina spotted. So she's with us for a second here. I know. Static, I know. Hold on. 1 second. Tina, hurry, come here. All right, hold on. Hold on. I know. Chill out, everyone. Take a chill pill. Go smoke some weed. Tina, the mic is staticky because you're so far back, I think. Let's see if it fixes it. All right, let me know if it's better now, guys. You'll live. Smoke some weed, chill out. Let me know if it's better. Love you all. Love you guys. Hold on. Let me know if it's better. Love you. Never, American Willow. Love you, Anthony. 420 passed away. Yay. Okay, it's better. See, guys, I told you. Now you guys have all had a hit. You're all good now. All right, cool. I love you. We'll grab some interviews. Definitely still share this stream if you're able to. statusquo.com/West Coast. We really need your help. I know. You guys are funny. All right, so we've been out in the field for over 10 days, I think, at this point. It costs a lot to travel out to the West Coast. statusquo.com/West Coast if you're able to help us. $5, $10, whatever. I apologize for your headache, Monarch. All right, let's grab some people. Let's see where Chris is. Let's see here. Up here? Okay, so let's go up here. Okay, so hi.
I want to introduce Sam. Sam works for the Beverly Hills Courier, so he's a fellow journalist,
nice.
but he's been covering the weekly Trump rallies here and all the other things that have been going on. I want to know what you think about what happened today. Do you think this sort of action is effective in the sense that we're marching through very wealthy neighborhoods and these folks are, not used to that? Do you think this is what's necessary to get actual change when it comes to income inequality and climate change, et cetera?
That's a really good question. I was actually just talking with one of the participants about that. I don't feel entirely qualified to judge what is an effective action and what isn't. If you look at former protest movements, civil rights movement, the progressive era before that, it takes all kinds. There are different tactics within any movement. So I don't know if this is effective. I don't know who, I think symbolically it is a powerful optic to see former Amazon workers who were fired for organizing in front of Jeff Bezos' home. I think that does send a powerful signal that despite any isolation between people who are working class and people who are wealthier, elites, that isolation is more fictitious than real. Then again, there is a big black gate in front of his house. So I don't know. I don't think I can give you an entirely satisfying answer about that.
So, but in what you've seen since you've been here in Beverly Hills doing the news here, have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes, actually. So since the George Floyd protests started, there have been a number of marches that have taken place through residential neighborhoods in Beverly Hills. A number of those have been shut down. The first one that I covered in Beverly Hills, led by the group Black Future Project, I believe this was back in June, I want to say, encountered some force by police. They were fired on by less lethals and tear gas. And then a subsequent march by that same group was arrested around 12 o'clock at midnight, around midnight. But, a core message of those marches was to draw attention to income inequality. A lot of people in Beverly Hills have felt vilified, I know, as a result of that. They feel like the charges are unfair, or I know that there's a large immigrant community in Beverly Hills that have felt triggered by some of the marches. So in all of that, the question of whether or not the message is getting through, I don't know. I know that there are people. Yeah, I honestly don't know. You're welcome.
With us, you want to go talk to?
Thank you so much. Very good insight. No, it's great.
to hear your
All right,
insight.
we're going to go up and get Chris Smalls, who is the leader here. Christian Smalls, who Jordan has interviewed, if you guys will remember. This was several months ago now, at the start of COVID, when he was organizing after being fired from Amazon for trying to be COVID safe. Let's give him 1 second here before we jump on in. 1 second, guys. Again, Jordan interviewed Chris Smalls several months ago. So let's get an update here.
Wrapping up. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, you know.
Before you go into your interview, real quick, I just let you know that.
Okay, so we're going to grab Chris here. 1 second, guys. Christian Smalls, organizer here, was fired from the Staten Island Amazon location for trying to organize for safety for COVID. Internal memos were released calling him unintelligent, saying all sorts of nasty things. Hey, Chris, can we grab you? Status quo. You interviewed with my colleague Jordan several months ago. So obviously I was just catching the audience up with what you had told Jordan several months ago now at this point, to kind of remind everyone, you were a 5-year employee of the Staten Island location, and you were fired for what? Tell everyone.
Fired for speaking out about health and safety concerns regarding to COVID-19. Speaking up back in March when the pandemic first hit the states. Working there, like you said, almost 5 years. Opening up 3 major buildings for this company, training thousands of its employees. And I just noticed that the company dropped this ball just like the country did. They were way behind when it came to protecting its workers. So as a result, I had to take further action, holding a protest on March 30th. 2 hours later after that protest, I was fired. So I just continue to speak and fight the power because the time is now, and my voice became a voice for many others. So there I am today.
Absolutely. And I think what a lot of people, even those who followed your story, don't realize is that internal memos were leaked calling you unintelligent. The Amazon corporate called you unintelligent, among other things. What are your thoughts about that? Obviously not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to know that the richest man in the world is possibly racist, you know, that to sign off on a smear campaign to crush the people at the bottom of the working class, the bottom of the totem pole. That tells you what true capitalism really is. They don't care about us. They'd rather smear a worker like me, calling me not smart or articulate, and be in a better PR position than to answer questions about their own safety concerns with their workers. So that tells you the exploitation of workers and how they think, and how these billionaires and 1%ers think of us. We're nothing but a number and a profit to them. So that's what I think about it. But I also say thank you because it elevated my platform, it elevated my voice. And like I said, I'm a voice for many others.
Well, and it has to feel vindicating in a way. Not that you would wish anyone harm, but now they've released a number saying about 20,000 Amazon workers were potentially infected with COVID. Right. So you worked really hard in Staten Island to keep people safe, whereas corporate did not. Do you think Amazon's ever going to wake up?
No. You know, Jeff Bezos don't make $88 billion if he cared about essential workers. They didn't change their inventory. They sold essential items, but they price gouged 1,000%. They made sure that they were profiting, and they calculate nothing but profit. They know how much money they can get if they keep exploiting workers and exploiting the class. 6 months. It's about just continuing to fight. If we don't fight back right now or ever, we can't expect the billionaires to take care of us. So that's what it's about. Just continue to hit the streets, hit the ground, vote in the right candidates, get people in office that represent the people. No more lip service. stop being subjected to the same old lip service by either parties. If they are not for us, then we need to create a party, create a people's party. And that's what we should talk about as well. The foundation starts now. COVID-19 gives us that opportunity.
Tell people what you've been up to since Jordan spoke to you several months ago. The Congress of Essential Workers. Explain what that is, what you've been up to, how this movement has moved forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The Congress of Essential Workers, a collective of workers from Amazon and other corporations as well, decided to come together and form this alliance across the country, this coalition of workers and people that are just out here trying to fight for the movement. Our vision is to create a democracy for a rank and file committee for workers, essential workers, to the point where they can negotiate their own contract, something like a union-like structure. You know, Amazon is anti-union, and they do a lot of union busting, firing people, you know, training managers to union salt and bust. So we got to make sure that we create our own our democracy and rank and file committee. So the Congress of Essential Workers' vision is to get enough workers' power where we can sit down at the table and be like, we're not going to work until you take care of the people.
Very cool. One question I have is, we have, so when we were in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion, we have a live view streaming pack, which pulls from all of the major cell phone networks. We all three, with the Status Quo crew, have different cell phone networks. As soon as we got in front of Jeff Bezos' mansion, everything went down. Yes. Absolutely everything. It seems like he had a scrambler. What is he afraid of?
Afraid of getting the truth out there. And that's exactly what we're talking about. He wants to keep the information from the public. He wants to silence me. He wants to silence this movement. He wants to silence his own workers. Some of these workers are still employed, to be honest with you. And he wants to silence them and still make money. So that is a prime example of how scary and how much power these people have. To shut off live stream when we're just trying to speak out and get some basic needs as humans. That's what it's about. So that right there should wake people up. It's time to fight back and join us.
Absolutely. So any last words you have for the public? How can they follow you? How can they join in?
Sure. Follow me on Twitter, shut_down Amazon. No secret there. Chris.Smalls on Instagram. Yeah, just follow us. We got tcoew.org, our website. We have Facebook, Twitter, social media platform as well. Just join us. If you hear about an event going on in your local community, join anything. I encourage you, it's imperative to join anything in your community, along with us, in solidarity. And just make sure you follow this story, because it's just the beginning.
Thank you so much, Chris. I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Jen. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Okay, you heard there from Chris Smalls, who organized this event and has done so much work since he was fired in the Staten Island office simply for trying to make his workers safe. He was a supervisor. COVID hit. He was noticing some extremely unsafe practices, so he spoke up. He organized. Then, all of a sudden, he was fired. Not only was he fired, but corporate, since Chris was getting media attention, they devised a PR campaign among corporate to smear him. This leaked to Vice. They called him unintelligent. They smeared him top to bottom, just basically saying, oh, he's a dummy, we can handle this with PR. But here we are today in Beverly Hills, far away from New York City. So this movement of his has gone national, and he's making, great headway. He's really waking people up, marching through Beverly Hills. People now have seen these signs. They're aware. They're going to see the news of exactly what is happening here. Some people will go back to sleep. They'll go in their mansion and not care. They'll be pissed off like the one girl we saw in her car who was so inconvenienced for having to stop for 30 seconds for the protesters. But others will open their eyes. Others will see what's happening. And I think that, as you heard from Chris, is his goal. So it's kind of dwindling here. There were, many, many more marchers here. We marched all the way to Jeff Bezos' mansion. As I said, the feeds were scrambled. Very, very strange. The three of us, Tina, John, and me, have different cell services. We have the live view, which pulls from different cell services, none of which worked. There was a drone in the sky. There was a helicopter in the sky all over Jeff Bezos' mansion. So I think there's something going on there. I think Jeff Bezos didn't want the news to get out. I think he was hiding something. So I would say that most people would consider this a success for what these folks were trying to accomplish today. I see a lot of you here in the Super Chat with wonderful comments, a lot of support for Chris and his marchers. We're going to shut down here. We've been live for quite a while, except for that span in between where we couldn't because of good old Jeff's scramblers. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. Also hit the bell for notifications. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers, which will help us get seen more in the YouTube algorithm. Also, you cannot rely on YouTube for notifications to tell you when we're live. So text COUP to 370-370. Get your phone out right now. Text COUP to 370-370. John and I are on the West Coast. We're hanging out with Tina here, who freelances for us in LA. And we're going to see what else is going on here and bring you some more interviews. We've got Ron Placone on tomorrow. The amazing Ron Placone. You guys all love him. We're going to go back out to the fires, interview more folks there, get some more footage from the devastating wildfires. We have a lot in the works here. So stay tuned. Text COUP to 370-370. Stay awesome. Keep checking in on Status Coup. Let everyone know about us. And if you are able to at any amount at all, $5, $10, $100 if you can, statuscoup.com/West Coast. Tina, do you want to come say bye?
Bye. Thanks for joining us today.
And shout out to John, who's doing a great job. All right, we love you guys all. Check out Ron tomorrow. Bye-bye, guys.